Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Video Game Film School. This is the show where I take a look at popular video games and find the films that influenced them. In this episode we will cover Campo Santo's debut title, Firewatch. Firewatch is an adventure game wrapped up in a mystery. The game is set in the year 1989, which means no cell phone, internet, or any way to contact the outside world aside from conversations on a two-way radio with your boss Delilah. You play as Henry, a man whose wife is suffering from dementia and takes a job as a forest ranger in the woods of Wyoming to escape from his past. The story involves Henry's relationship with Delilah, as well as his dealing with isolation, leading into paranoia when he starts to suspect that somebody is after him. There's no mistaking that this premise sounds like a Hollywood thriller. The game's creators have gone on record stating that Firewatch was influenced by many works of film and television. Many elements of this title, like the character interactions, paranoid feel, and its overlying mystery, were influenced by Hollywood thrillers, sci-fi films, and even romantic indie films. When writing the game's dialogue, Vanaman watched films and TV shows for inspiration. In an interview found on the Campo Santos YouTube page, Vanaman talked about his process when writing Firewatch. Since the game would use back and forth snappy banter, he watched the film Glengarry, Glen and the television show Mad Men for motivation when writing the dialogue between Henry and Delilah. Sean also watched films from the 1980s so that the dialect would be accurate to the time period. The interactions between Henry and Delilah can be compared to the film Her, in which a man falls in love with a computer with the personality of a woman. According to Vanaman, the biggest source of inspiration was from Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise trilogy. Before Sunrise is the story of two strangers who spend an evening in France together after a chance meeting on a train. The dialogue between Jesse and Celine in the film was the foundation in crafting Henry and Delilah's relationship. Henry and Delilah's interactions are playful and quippy, building on the couple's chemistry, similar to the relationship established in Before Sunrise.
Describe for me, yes, I'm going to ask you. Describe for me your first sexual feelings towards a person.
It doesn't seem that dangerous. Whoa, whoa! Ah, no!
Henry!
Seriously, it's completely fine in here.
God damn it.
The dialogue often leads to more intimate topics that can reveal more about the characters.
I saved up my money all spring to fly to Madrid and spend the summer with my girlfriend, who has been on this...
Your girlfriend?
My ex-girlfriend.
So, a couple of months before I took this job, I was with this guy, Javier.
The dialogue in both works act as a looking glass into the characters' growing relationship, while also providing a look into their lives. Firewatch's controversial ending took inspiration from Before Sunrise. Henry and Delilah's relationship, like Jesse and Celine's, was destined to be short-lived. Jesse and Celine both know that this relationship will not last. In the aforementioned film, they plan on meeting up, but no solid plan was made. In Firewatch, Henry desires a relationship with Delilah, but she leaves Two Forks before Henry even has a chance to see her. On the radio, Henry attempts to work something out, but it's obvious that this relationship will go nowhere. The film and game portray a similar message. Relationships don't always end with happily ever after. Sometimes relationships are destined to last for only a brief moment.
Good luck, Henry.
Other than his interactions with Delilah, Henry suffers from being alone in the woods and grows increasingly paranoid as strange events occur around him. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is about Jack Torrance, a writer and recovering alcoholic who takes a job as an off-season caretaker at the isolated Overlook Hotel. While watching the hotel, Jack slowly falls into insanity. He starts seeing ghosts and talks to people who are not there. Henry and Jack both suffer from isolation in a small space away from society, with only minimal human contact. Henry doesn't go full Jack Nicholson, but the scene in which he talks to his wife over the walkie-talkie shows the madness slowly seeping into his head. Paranoia as the result of extreme isolation is the major theme driving the second half of the game. Things start going south for Henry after he confronts a couple of teenage girls setting off fireworks. His station gets ransacked and the girls are reported missing. Henry eventually discovers that his and Delilah's conversations are being monitored and that he is being stalked by a mysterious figure. Since Henry is basically alone, he questions whether this is really happening or is it all in his head.
Am I just making all of this up? I mean, the eavesdropping, the spying, is this... Fuck, are you... Is any of this real?
This theme is present in the film Moon by Duncan Jones. The film follows Sam Bell, a man who was near the end of a 3-year solitary stint mining fuel on the far side of the moon. Like Henry, Sam left his wife behind to take a job where he is completely isolated from society. His only contact is an AI named Gertie, whom he suspects might be up to something after being involved in an accident exploring the moon's surface. Sam later discovers a clone of himself and starts to suspect a larger conspiracy afoot. He starts to question his sanity and his entire existence, just as Henry does. Tension starts to rise when Henry knows someone has been tracking him and monitoring his conversations with Delilah. Sean Vanaman is quoted in an article with LazyGamer.net stating, "Psychological thrillers such as Zodiac and The Conversation have helped mold the atmospheric tone Firewatch set out to create." Francis Ford Coppola's film The Conversation is about a surveillance expert who is given a job to record a conversation between a man and a woman, very similar to the situation presented in Firewatch. Its tension rises from the protagonist's uncertainty concerning what will happen when the tape is turned in. Odd sound cues add to the mounting tension of the film, as well as the game. The sound of static as you approach Wapiti Station for the first time has the same uneasy feeling as did the static in The Conversation. David Fincher's Zodiac is another film that used sound cues to the same effect and was also inspired by films like The Conversation. Its use of unnatural sound design added another level of tension. The tension felt when you first enter Wapiti Station with the sound of a radio frequency uses the same method of sound design as when Robert Grayson discovers that he might be inside the Zodiac killer's house at that very moment.
Are you sure there's nobody else in the house? Would you like to go upstairs and check? No. Thank you. Thanks for everything. You're welcome.
Zodiac is another story of paranoia conveyed through means of obsession rather than isolation. Robert Grayson gets in way over his head in pursuit of uncovering the true identity of the Zodiac killer. By the end of the film, he gets strange calls and feels that he is being stalked by the Zodiac, similar to how Henry thought he was being stalked by the mysterious figure at the beginning of the game.
There's some guy out here.
Henry, there's something someone should have told you about this area.
What is it?
It's outside.
Somebody else is here.
It is a public park.
As for the ending, Firewatch presents a series of questions setting up its core mystery. Who is Delilah? Who is this mysterious figure? Why do these girls go missing? What happened to Brian Goodwin? What is this strange tracking station? Is Henry being watched? Is it all in Henry's head? All these questions mixed with its wilderness setting is very reminiscent of the show Lost, which slowly morphed character drama into hard sci-fi. The main plot of Season 2 presented the idea of the castaways falling subject to an experiment, as well as including a research station, with the purpose of monitoring its subjects' daily lives. Similar to Lost, an assumption can be made while playing Firewatch that a psychological or supernatural conclusion would take place, but at the end, the suspicions are confirmed to be false. You discover that the person tracking Henry is a man named Ned Goodwin, who was a lookout before you were. Ned was an alcoholic and a bad father who took refuge in the woods after his son died in an accident climbing in a cave. Ned stole the tracking equipment from the camp at Wapiti Station, which turns out was used for studying deer, and utilized it to scare off Henry from finding him. In retrospect, a pretty mundane ending following something that was set up to be possibly otherworldly. The ending felt more like something from True Detective, which is a favorite show amongst the creators. All signs pointed to True Detective taking a very Lovecraftian turn, with all its clues like Yellow King and Carcosa having roots in weird fiction. Yet it ultimately ended as a normal crime drama about its characters more than solving a supernatural mystery. The disappointment some had with True Detective's ending rings similar to what people thought about Firewatch's ending. Some hated that they were being strung along to believe something fantastic was going on, while others liked the more grounded approach. Firewatch, like other works of art, borrowed a lot from various video games, artwork, and works of film. Its culmination of ideas from different types of films, from dialogue-heavy love stories, to low-budget sci-fi, to blockbuster thrillers, all mixed together to tell a compelling narrative that could only be done in video games. Oh, and one more thing. That ending? It's totally from Predator. Yo, everybody, thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate you watching and viewing. I want to thank Perrydactyl and SteveOHobo helping out with editing the script. You really helped me out a lot. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much. Also want to thank Shadunda Badunda, FIFA Fofunda, and Raz Butin with their input as well. Just also thanks for watching all the way through. Hopefully you did watch all the way through. You're not just going to this in slate, because that'd be stupid. Yeah, just give a like, subscribe if you want. You know, you can share it around with your friends on the social medias, on Pinterest and other forms of social media. Snapchat it. I don't care at this point. Again, thanks, and I'll see you next time.